See, this question does arise many times, that from where did mind come? Nobody answers this. From where did these senses came? Nobody answers this. But Vedanta does. Hence this detail I have given. But our main subject today is not Panchtanmatra. Our main subject is neither Panchikaran nor Apanchikaran. Our main subject is all about the subtle body. Gross body, you know it. I hope so. Although that's a very untrue thing. You really don't know. Because to know this also, you will have to learn all the Ayurveda. Then you will come to know about, it's a whole different science. Ras, Rakta, Asti, Med, Majja, Birya, Shukra, all these 7 dhatus which this physical gross body is formed. To know this in detail, you will have to go to Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is one of the science which gives you the understanding about your gross body. But our focus today is more on subtle body. Now, let's move on. The gross body, through the interplay of the 5 great elements, the Panchikarana, the resultant 25 elements comprise the gross body. You know, there was 5 elements, then the Panchikarana happened. So that total came into 25. And that 25 elements are the reason through which your gross body is formed. There was this macro elements which manifested the grosser form of elements, and then the interfusion happened, and that's how your physical gross body gets formed. Our Shastra says, how do you receive this gross body? It is attained after a jiva has accumulated good karmas in past lives. You know what? This is something very, very intriguing and very, very mysterious. Many people say, if I was a human prior to this body, only then I can do some punya karma, the great virtuous karmas. Then why are you saying that this human body is because of great virtuous karma? Oh well, I already had it. That's why I did the punya karma. The truth is, you can have a human look-alike body and yet you can be an animal. You know how to eat, sleep, have sex, create babies and die one day. And you are bereft of any good, virtuous actions. Such humans are not different from any animal. On the contrary, the animal might seem actually more good and better. But this human form, where you have the understanding and you respect this body and you respect the time and you gain the knowledge, until and unless you don't get the knowledge, how would you know the value of your gross body? In Puranas, there are stories about demons and demigods, Devata and Asura. Many people wonder that there might be some very different looking celestial beings who are Devata, demigod, and some very horrible looking Asuras, the demons. But the truth is this, if you are just into food, sex and sleep, you are a demon. If you have knowledge, purity, humbleness, intelligence, then you are like a demigod, a devata. And if you are in between, then you are just a manushya or the human. This grass body is the seat of experiencing happiness and sorrow. See, an animal can just eat grass. Cow eats every day, same grass, never gets bored out of it. Have you ever seen a cow saying, "Oh no, not again, same green grass, give me something more"? Now she's happy with her grass, dog is happy with her food, with the food which is given. The birds are happy with those little worms or the seeds which they eat. They don't have any choice. Human has choice. In food, do you have choice? Yeah. Italian, Indian, Chinese, Gujarati, Punjabi. So much to eat. In clothing, you have choice? Yes. You have different set of clothes to wear at home. You have different set of clothes to wear when you go out. You have different set of clothes when you have to go to party. I remember one time in Mumbai, there is a place called Gymkhana. At one time, I think it's in the Britishers' time, it was frequented by gentlemen. Long ago, it was my first visit to Mumbai. A man who met me in Punjab had invited me to come to his place. His place was too far. Then he said, "Can I take you for lunch?" I said, "Where?" And he said, "Gymkhana." And he said, "But they have a dress code." And I don't know whether you will be comfortable or not. I said, "I too have a dress code, and wherever I go in that very dress." So it's not about what code you want or not want. It's one code which I have. So he said, "Then it is better you come to my home then." I said, "That's now better. Sensible choice." You get pleasure from different clothes. You get pleasure from different types of food, right? And Saturday, what it is today here in India, Saturday and Sunday is the time when families decide, where to go and what to eat. It's a huge thing, where to go and what to eat. Your dog, your cow, your buffalo, your birds, they don't have such choice. So in a way, human body, this gross body, can be used to have lots of pleasures. But wherever there are a lot of pleasures, there will be a lot of sorrows too. You can't say, "Oh, no, I don't want any sorrow." Well, if you say no to sorrow, then you'll have to say no to the pleasures also. So this gross body is meant for that. And now this gross body goes through the stages of 1, manifestation, 2, birth. I'm saying manifestation. The zygote. You don't call that a baby, or he or she, or girl or a boy, in the initial stages, it's just like a worm. It looks also like that. So the technical term is zygote. And then this zygote grows, then in 9 or 8 or 9 plus month comes out, that's the birth, then the body grows, then the body transforms. That giggly, cheeky, fluffy, beautiful body changes into the teenage body, then changes into the adult body, then goes into the midlife body, then goes into older, and then all wrinkly and weak, and the spine becomes like a bow, can't sit can't sit or stand straight. Now I am talking about regular humans. I am not talking about yogis who can sit perfectly even at 152 age. This doesn't happen to them, but the weathering will happen and finally the death will happen. So you can see your own gross body, in which stage this body is. Is it in transformation or is it now started to weather now? Getting weaker. The senses get weaker. Energy goes down. The prana is getting down. It's like now fading, slowly fading. I was reading this story of a man. One day, he was as he was preparing to go to the office. Now it's a story, don't take it literally. The death god appeared. He said, I have come. I said, time to die. He said, you cannot do this. So rude. You never informed me. The death god said, no, I did. He said, when did you inform me? This is not right. I have so much to do. You can't just suddenly appear. I can't just break my own schedule for you. The death god said, I gave you many notices, but you never noticed my notices. He said, which one? He said, the day your eyesight became weak and you got the glasses on your nose, that was my first notice. So how many of you are wearing? Megan is wearing, and Daksha is wearing, and so many others are wearing. He said, but that's not enough. The death god said, the day you couldn't stand up from your chair without the help was my second message. When you were tossing and turning in your bed and you couldn't sleep was my third message. When your ears couldn't hear, that was my fourth message. When you couldn't digest food as you used to was my fifth message. When your hair turned grey, that was my another message. So don't say, I never gave you the message. I gave you the notices, enough notices, but you never noticed the notices. So, let's go. And the person just died. That's the truth of this body. So, always be prepared for these stages, which will occur in time to the gross body. Okay? Moving on. Now comes the subtle body. The 17 constituents of the Apanchikrit, the 5 great elements, form the subtle body. The elements which have not undergone the Panchikarana, as explained earlier, are called the Apanchikrit 5 great elements or subtle elements. The same are also known as Tanmatra, and the attributes of the subtle body are: 1. It acts as the doer of actions and bearer of their fruits. Can you move 2 slides further? The constituents of the subtle body. 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranas, and antahkaran. Detail is in the next slide, please. The 5 senses of knowledge. They have done some lovely pictures. The ear, and the eye, and the tongue, and the nose. And the sense of touch is exhibited with the skin. So the hand is there. They are created from the Sattvaguna part of the 5 great elements. By virtue of these 5 senses, the jiva gains knowledge of the perceptible world. Now let's say the shape of the ear or the structure is not created by the sattva guna. That is created by tamasic. The ear cannot hear. If it was the case, then even the deaf person should hear. He has the outer ear but can't hear. Right? A person who has a paralysis has the skin but cannot feel anything. Right? If you have a bad cold, then you have a nose but you cannot smell. Right? And sometimes because of certain disease, your tongue can lose the flavors, the taste is gone. Like if you have a bad fever, give you anything, the dish which you love, but at that time, no taste. The organ part is made from the tamasic element. But the power to see is sattva guna. Is sattva guna. The power to hear is, repeat, sattva guna. The power to smell is, the power to taste is. Now, these 5 senses, now this jiva or the individual soul cannot function without these 5 senses. Can it? No. Just imagine if somebody's eyes can't see, ears can't hear, nose can't smell, tongue can't taste, skin can't touch or feel anything. Will there be any connection with the external world? That's why we call it Gyan, knowledge, indri, organ. Very important. Next is the 5 senses of knowledge. The Trinity have I would say it's like a tripod. There's a triangle in this. And how your micro will get connected with the macro, how your individual body will connected with the whole universe is exhibited in this slide. The sense of cognition or knowledge is called adhyatma. Is called? Now learn these Sanskrit words. Along with its subject, the adhibhuta and the governing forces are called the adhidaiva, forms the Trinity, or the Sanskrit word is Triputi. Triputi. And the Triputi word has been borrowed from Sanskrit, and in English it became Tri, because they don't have ta in English language. They have only T. Hence they call it Trinity. But actually it is 3. But in English it becomes tree. So actually it is a Sanskrit word. The root of Trinity is a Sanskrit word called Triputi. Tri means 3. Puti means the forces. Now you have this chart below. The sense of organ, it's governed by which force, is the subject is what, and is made from which guna, the 3 guna. So here we begin from ear, the shrotra. Now who is the governing force? Now what do you mean by governing force? How does the ear functions? The energy through which it functions, that force, that energy is called the Adhideva, Disha. What does ear do? Shabda. Made out of which? Sattva guna. Next comes skin, Tvacha, Sanskrit word, Tvacha. Who is the governing force? Vayu. Please read it, you have the chart in front. And the subject Adhibhuta is Sparsha. It's made from air. How you feel it's cold or hot? Sparsh. Say if I put you in a glass capsule, which is sealed, and I ask you, is it hot or cold? You would say, well, there is no air. Although I can't keep you in that glass capsule for long, because else you will die. So you have to breathe. You need air. And you also need to feel the hot and cold via the air. Third, chakshu, eyes. Who is the governing force? Subject adhibhuta is rupa, sight, and is made from fire. Eyes have a fire. In Ayurveda we call it alochak pitta. What do we call it? Alochak. Pitta means fire. The fire which is making the eyes see, that energy is called Surya. So that Surya, or the sun, it is not that one, the celestial body which you see in the sky. We are talking about the fires. There is a very subtle fire in the eyes, and then there is a sun outside the physical celestial body. And in all the colors in this nature are colors coming out of light. If there is no light, there is no colors. So fire, fire, fire. Fire's tamasic part will make the eye. The sattva guni will give the ability to see. What will it see? Now can your eye see the touch? Can your eye see the word, the sound? No. What your eye can see is form and the colors. Eye and what you are seeing, the subject, the name and form. Which is the governing force? Sun. Sun or fire would be Next comes jibha, tongue. The Adidev, the governing force is Varuna. What is the subject? Rasa. Made out of sattva guna of which element? Water. Then comes grana. Grana is Sanskrit word for nose. Ashwini Kumar are the Adidev, the governing force. The subject is smell, gandha. And it's made from sattva guna of earth. Now normally we feel the earth came first, then the smells came. But the Panchikarana concept says, no. The gandha came first. And the gross earth got formed later. Next is the 5 senses of action. They are formed out of Rajoguna part of 5 great elements. By virtue of these senses, the jiva, the individual soul, is able to perform activities in the material world. Like if you want to run, what is the organ? Feet. You want to make something, what is the organ? Hands. You want to talk, what is the organ? Tongue. Right? And then you have your genital for urinating, also for sensual pleasure, the sexual pleasure. And the 5th is the anus, through which you excrete, the excreta, the feces is out of the body. So next comes the slide, the 5 senses of action, the Trinity. Same procedure again, this detail of Trinity is there. Trinity is of Adhyatma, Adidev and Adhibhuta. Please repeat. And Adhibhuta. Now the Adhyatma is Vak, Sanskrit word. Repeat, what is it? Vak, meaning tongue. What is the governing force? Fires. You know, when this fire, this Agni, when this Agni is in a low degree, like in a terminally weak patient, have you seen they can't speak? Have you ever seen somebody who's really ill or very old? The Agni is now in such a low flame that they find it difficult to speak. The Adibhuta is the speech, the Vachana, and Rajoguna is of space. Hasta, hands. Who is the Adideva? Indra. What do you do? Giving and taking. Hindi is lena dena. Lena dena. And made from Rajoguna of air. See, in your body also, air goes in, comes out. Air goes in, comes out. Air goes in and... So this is also lena dena. Saans lena, saans dena. Saans lena, saans chhodna. Giving in, taking in air. And then exhaling. The inspiration and the expiration. Okay, when somebody dies, there's a very beautiful word in English. This person has expired. So actually, if somebody is born, then they should say inspired. But when somebody dies, we surely say person has expired. Third sense of action is pada, feet. Who is the Adidev? Vamana. What you do? Gamana. Gamana is walking. Again, the Rajoguna is fire. This very fire is low in old age, hence the person find difficult to walk. Difficulty to speech was because the prana is too less. Everything is getting congested, blocked, can't speak. Next is upastha, the genital, governing force, prajapati. Subject is rati bhoga, the sexual pleasure, and the made from Rajoguna of water. Guda, the fifth sense of action. The governing force is Yama. Now, do you know that Yama is name of death too? Huh? The governing force is called Yama. And in many, many, many cases, should I say, if not less than at least in 98% of the cases, when the physical death occurs, the prana leaves through anus, through Guda. Those who have worked in hospital as a nurse or a helper or a doctor, they know it. Most of the patients, when they die, they excrete. The urination happens, the excretion happens, the feces is there. Now what's the relation? Guda, governing forces, Yama, what we do is the malatyag, the excretion, and it's made from the Rajoguna of earth. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. And the organs are Guda, Upastha, Pada, Hasta, Vag. Got it?